Good morning, Sonder family. Welcome, everyone. I'm Jennifer Ogilvy. I get to be your on screen facilitator as we set up for a brand new week ahead. Joining me on the call this morning is Maya Martin Glenn, who is in Colorado. I'm in Texas, and we are both excited to be starting our day with our favorite people, the Sonder family. I'm laughing about the combination of, of trees that you are. And if you're looking and you're feeling like a number two, or a number six, or a number nine, maybe find the tree that you want to embrace for the upcoming week to turn that around and maybe get, a little bit of joy, a weary tree. The needles are a little dry and you need water. Okay, Susie, there you go. Let's do that. Yeah. Oh, and Nancy, you broke your femur. Dad, gummit. That's terrible. So some of you have already said there's some stuff. You're a chopped down tree right now. We need to get you refreshed and optimistic and hopeful. But I thought that was a fun little graphic to start our time together so that we could sort of do a little moment of self-checking in to see where we are and what we need. All righty. So this week I have the privilege of being in the chat for the exclusive with Mayha, the end of year wrap up and renewal. Love that. We've talked about how looking at the end of the year through the lens of renewal is kind of a neat take on our life. And so that is Thursday evening. And there is a nominal fee because it is a an exclusive, but we love to hang out with Mayha, get that energy and that love of Silk and Sonder through what she brings us. Oh, good, Denise. I'll see you there. I'm glad you're signed up. And then finally, I want to start this morning. You can either look at the current week, the bottom of page 33, or you can go ahead and flip to your fresh pages for our setup and look at the bottom of the new week that's ahead and think about for a moment, what are you currently loving right now? Just drop that in the chat. Let us know. Have you discovered something new? Is there a new show, a new product? Did you try a new recipe this week? Are you reading a must read book that we all need to know about? Or do you have maybe a new attitude and take on what this season is bringing you and you're embracing that? I am currently loving hanging out with my grandpup, my daughter. I'm usually the boarder for my little grandpup because she's a little messy chihuahua and I love having her. So she's here. Oh, I'm seeing wonderful. Okay, you're Cynthia says, I'm ready for Hanukkah. I'm good to go. I've got those candles, so that's great. Denise is loving the support of her daughter. Packing for your Christmas cruise. Amy, set your chat to everyone so we can all be jealous together. Um, we want to do that. You're loving self-care opportunities, which we find when we dig into these journals for sure. Jammies, holiday music, just starting the whole Sonder fam thing. Amen, Jennifer B. We love that. I love taking just a moment to find what we're loving because it's really an exercise in gratitudes and you're proud of your habits. Oh my gosh, love it, love it. So continue to drop those things that you are loving in the chat while we take care of our housekeeping this morning. Here are the community guidelines. We put these up at every social that we gather at, as well as when you signed up to be a member of Sonder Club and start communicating through that app, which if you're not already a member of Sonder Club, please be sure that you've set that up. You'll get lots of other place. It's another place for other ideas with your journal, as well as a supportive community. But we want to make sure that you remember that these times are about safe spaces and taking care of others and yourself. So we always like to share that. I love this little graphic. Excuse us while we lean into creating the communities we desire, which is exactly what Sonder Family is all about. Of course, again, a shout out to our theme of renewal. Um, I told y'all I was going to keep this graphic up all throughout the month because I love how it pairs with winter. It seems like everything sleeps in winter, but it's really a time of renewal and reflection. And I've been talking about getting example from Mother Nature, from those trees that have maybe dropped their leaves and it doesn't look like a lot's going on, but internally, lots of stuff is happening so that when the spring comes, they're ready to bloom and become refreshed and renewed. I've got a beautiful graphic to share with you later on that kind of shows that thing about the tree. But I like thinking of renewal through that lens, like we are those trees. We are doing a lot of internal work that will make us fruitful in the future. This morning, we are going to work on our mind map. We are working on week 3 of our mind map. Is there anybody here who's brand new for the very first time? This is your very first social. Drop a me in the chat. You are Jennifer B. We're so glad that you have joined us. And if you and Jessica, welcome. Janet. So several new folks, new to Sonder Socials, on the call this morning. We are all so grateful to welcome you, and you will get lots of welcomes from our community. And if you come to these long enough, you're gonna start recognizing names, and we start investing in each other. I always say it's a virtual community, but it is one of the most meaningful communities that I am a part of. So we're really, really happy that you are here. And when you come to these weekly setups, you're going to get a bonus prompt for your journal work, and we call it a mind map, and it's a deeper dig into the current theme of the month. And so this is not found in your journal. You get that information for showing up at the weekly setup. So welcome, friends, old and new. We're going to do our rosebud thorn reflection, which is a staple of our weekly setup, and then we'll dive into those weekly setup pages. So, if you haven't started your mind map, that's okay. You don't have to catch up. I will show you all 4 questions. And so, when you see that, you can take a screenshot of that if you want to work on the previous 2 weeks, or you can just dive in and think about this morning's question. Um, and so, excuse me. So, we're going to invite you to find a space in your journal. I also have some other suggestions. Our framing out is oftentimes we focus on too much of what we haven't done yet. We are so good at looking at what's undone instead of how much progress we've made, how we've grown. So this month we're exploring our theme of renewal with a focus on celebrating progress over perfection. If you've been in the Silk and Sonder family for a while, you've heard that many, many times, and creating space to move forward. So there are our 3 weeks worth of questions. So week 1 was about your favorite thing you've done this year for your personal self-care. It can be teeny weeny small, but just a deeper dig into to what that thing is and why. Why was it your favorite? I always love taking it that next step and really embracing how that makes you feel. Last week, we looked at the goal that we've been making progress on. We didn't have to complete it, but it was something that we recognized and celebrated in our life, even those little baby steps forward. So it could have been you had a change of mindset, you had a project that you've been working on, or you've explored new interests. Maybe there's some things in your professional life, maybe there's some things with a relationship that you had a goal for. So we just took that moment to thank ourselves for where we are so far. And then this week is, what is something you've learned about yourself this year? Maybe you've learned something about your needs, your strengths, your growth and changes, or something else. And I'll go back through all of these slides while you're working on it. So If you're just setting this up, you could do this on your weekly scratch pad from week to week to week. You could use sticky notes. You could use the definition page. Lots of you go to the quote page and put it in there. And this is a tip from our one of our other facilitators, Bailey. She's the one who started me using just that very last sheet of paper in the journal because it makes it easy to flip to and find. I was inspired by one of you all to do Christmas ornaments, holiday ornaments, and so I did that with mine. And just my sharing to you is for me, my big learning this year has to do with control. I am a control freak. I'm one of those people who it's hard for me to ask for help. I like to be the help giver, and I just take a lot of control. And some of that was very much hardwired in my early years to self-protect. And so control is something I've worked on my whole adult life, but this year I have really been making strides through my work on my Al-Anon journey and realizing that, for lack of better words, the new big book out there is the Let Them Theory. It's really about letting people be who they are and about me taking care of myself and going more internal. I can't control other people, but I can control the reactions that I have toward other people. And so that's where I've really made strides personally in my life. So it's helped me realize that I have agency and I'm the one who controls those responses. So that's the direction I took for this week's pondering. And I loved this graphic that I found. Once you become aware, you are in a better position to make the changes you need to make to improve your life and then the lives of your loved ones. Self-reflection helps you steer your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors in a healthy direction. And so that's what I think this week's question is all about. So let me put on a little bit of music while you reflect. And if you're comfortable, share in the chat. Drop what's coming up for you because someone may be sitting there not quite sure where to go with this, and your words could be the words of inspiration they need to read. What I love about about our time together when we start digging into our weekly mind maps is sometimes we start writing and thinking about this, and it's like this whole question could be a time of a social all on its own, like that deep reflection. And when we keep digging in and going deeper and deeper and asking ourselves why, okay, and then why is that? And then why is that? And you could just this could be like a whole hour's worth of writing. So I know that was a brief moment. You don't have to finish this at this social, but our goal of having the mind map is to give you that deeper look into your soul and what you need in your life. So thank you for working on that and for being authentic and sharing with this community. So now let's turn to page 36, and this is our look back over this past week. And many of you have shared, you kind of hold off and you wait on this until it's like your Sunday night reflection. So if that's true for you, keep working on your mind map. Or I've got another alternative for you to think about. But we do this rosebud thorn check-in with ourselves. Again, it's kind of a gratitude practice when we look at the things that went well, that we're excited about, what we're grateful for, what went well, how you're celebrating yourself, your actions. We look at the buds that are to come that we're excited about, the things that give us motivation or help us look forward, look ahead. And then we all have thorns in our life. And I learned one week I said, I don't have a thorn. And then like the next week I had a car accident. And so I always look for the things that maybe I'm never gonna not have a thorn again. But what maybe was a hiccup, and it could be maybe you didn't take as good a care of yourself as you should have. And so you're feeling a little tired this week, and that can be a thorn. Right. I tempted fate, Maya. And so never again. But we kind of go through that. For me, my rose was just I had several fun Christmas events this past week that kind of got me into that spirit and connected me with a lot of folks and love that. My bud is my daughter's going to be here next week hanging out, and we'll be getting ready for the holidays. And we have crafty days planned, and we're going to go see Wicked. And I'm just excited about hanging out with that gal. And then my husband's got some medical concerns that came up after an endoscopy, and so we are waiting on some results and some next steps. And we know that surgery is in his future. So we're just that's the thorn, those medical things, and that one may show up for a while for me because those medical things hang out and don't go away. But I also want to shout out to this sweet little another Christmas tree graphic about we are sending love to those of you who may be dealing with some mental illness, whether it's personal or someone you love. If you're feeling lonely, if you're a caregiver, if you just are struggling with a holiday celebration. We know that there are those of you who are grieving a loss this year, and those who you might be spending holidays with not the best people for you. And yeah, Jennifer, it can be the bud. That's a great question. It can be what's coming up this next week, but it can also be like 2026, a brand new year. So yeah, you can look far ahead. You could look into to something that's happening tomorrow. It's really where you are. Secondly, if you're waiting on this to fill this out tomorrow, I'm going to also encourage you during this time. I'm going to give you a little bit more music this morning, a little more time. I'd like to encourage all of you to go take a look at page 39. I always like to pull this in kind of in the middle of the month as a check-in. Now, some of you may be sort of doing a weekly, there's 3 lines do a weekly check-in, and maybe line one for each of these is week one, line two for each of these is your second week, and line three is your third week. And then you kind of finish up your fourth week as you go and do the next month's reflections overall when we do that reflection page. So you may be checking in with yourself already with this. But if not, I think a mid-month check-in is a great thing to do. I might point you back to your intention page and see how your intentions are aligning with the things that you are currently loving and enjoying and anticipating and watching. But let's take a few moments also to give a little homage to this page, page 39. So we'll work on both our rosebud thorn reflection as well as the currently page, and then we'll get on with the rest of our morning setup. All right. Again, this time together goes by so quickly. And so you may not have everything completed, but I do encourage you to go look at that currently page. Sometimes it can really help center you. And if you're looking, at this page and you're like enjoying, what am I enjoying? A couple of you shared some tough things. And so maybe you can make yourself a note to find something that will pop into this line of what you are loving or what you are enjoying or wishing for or anticipating. So it's a great self check-in to go look at that currently page. So I encourage you to make sure that you spend a little time doing that. And there are some tough things that you shared. Thank you for being open with your Sonder community, and virtually, that you've got a community of support. And I think there's a lot of power in the fact of when we profess it, our community can, help carry some of that load. It's just becomes you're no longer by yourself when you've said it out loud, when you've written it in the chat and you've shared it with us. So thank you for doing that. So now let's take a look at week 51, which is going to be found on pages 40 and 41 this week. It's crazy that we are here. We're wrapping up December, if you can believe that. You might want to grab a screenshot of this slide if you are brand new here. These are just a ton of different ways folks have used these spaces in your journal or in their journal. You are always invited to use them just as they are. That's why we have that guided thing of, our goals, our feelings, our to-dos, our habits, the mind, body, health, the meal plan. All of those can be used just as they are, but I also know many of you like to swap some things up. You take something that's meaningful to your life. And, if I always say in the spring, you can better believe I'm spring and summer, I have a garden tracker or a space for all my garden work because I'm a big gardener. So I will swap something up so that I can focus on all the tasks associated with that. So this is not exhaustive, but this is inspired by what we've seen shared in Sonder Club by y'all. So let's dig in. We like to start with how we want to feel this week. And got a little word cloud there. Maybe you think back to those Christmas trees we saw at the front end of our time together this morning. But how do you want to feel? For me, I have been embracing my Advent journey, and so this is my current week right here on the right. And each week of Advent has, we light a candle and each candle represents something. And this week's word is peace. And next week's word, I believe, is joy. I think it's joy. I've got it set up. Yes, joy. I've got my joy set up. So that's what I want to feel next week. And then I've been using my goal section for my focus questions that I ask myself every night. And yeah, thanks, Annalisa. I've done the page, I just forgot. And then I just thought in my to-dos, I don't use my to-do space for to-dos. That goes on the list of the weekly spread. So this, I'm just using it to draw a candle and write which candle it is. And then all my habits and activities have to do with the holidays. So I'm a United Methodist, and we have a Advent photo challenge through the church. And so I've been doing that on the daily basis. I've been listening to music on a daily basis. I wear something Christmassy every day. I've got my little Christmas trees on today. Been seeking moments of hygge, that coziness every day. So involving a candle or a Afghan or making a pot of soup, just coziness. And then I've been trying to do an act of kindness of some kind every day, a little random act of kindness. Here's an example on the left. I love golly, in December, wanting to feel rested. So true. So that could also be a way you frame that, feel how you want to feel. Drop in the chat how you want to feel this week. And if you'll notice, this person said rested and is asking the question now, not just saying, I want to be rested, but identifying the thing that is draining her, and then what does she need. And so that's that kind of how do I feel and what do I need. And we see that a lot in one of these sections, especially on the next page. A lot of folks will do that. Check in with self, and it might be a morning check in, it might be a midday check in. How do I feel? What do I need? And or it could be an end of the day reflection and feel realizing I need this tomorrow so I don't feel that. Or I'm feeling great. What do I need? Nothing. I need a repeat. I need this to happen again. And you can really examine how you got to those feelings. So you can see that there are some goals there that are actually down the middle of the to-dos. So a home goal, a work goal, and a me goal with those to-dos. And just kind of looking at some reminder words to support those goals, habits, feelings that they're having. So there's a couple of examples. And again, I laughed. I put that little fun. According to my chocolate advent calendar, there are only 3 days till Christmas. And I was telling Maya, we have an advent calendar, little structure. It's a Christmas tree, and we put two Hershey Kisses in it for every day, one for me and one for my husband. And I would be giving him a chocolate kiss. He was like, one is not enough. So he ended up buying more Hershey Kisses, putting them on the counter, and they were gone in 2 days. So if I were doing the advent calendar like that, it really would be 3 days till Christmas. All right. So there's a couple of examples for y'all to look at, and I love to show whole pages to remind all of us that this is about setting up the week that you need. It doesn't have to look a certain way. So we start with looking at maybe what are our three goals this week, the three top things that we want to happen. And this is a great graphic. December, declutter, detach, and delete anything that devalues your life. So really focusing on that could be a great way to set your goals this week. Love that. And then we always say use that intentions page. I'm going to make you go look at it one way or another. Are there some things that could inform this area? Look at your goals through the lens of renewal. Maybe that mind map that we worked on today, the things that you've learned about yourself, carrying that forward into your goals. We're kind of now mid-month, so it's time to maybe start flipping back. Are there some undones that you want to bring forward? But you also don't have to have goals. Here's an example. Somebody's three major goals. It's celebrate my birthday. That's what's in this space. And then you can repurpose this. You can put some quotes here, maybe some new recipes you want to try. Maybe you make a playlist for the holiday here, or the shows or movies that you want to watch. It's really about your space and what you need. And I'll go back through all of these while we are working on this space. The three categories are always a great way if you're stuck and you don't know what to do with your goals. You can see I've got several three category lines up there of different ways you could set this space up. And here's an example of someone doing the mind, body, soul, and then just plugging in a goal for each of those. Some things to remember during the holidays, that those could be a great place to draw your goals from this week. Ask for help, prioritize your rest, make time for self-care. Let's see here. I share this page from time to time because I really appreciate how this person set their one goal up to be unplugged. So get rid of that phone addiction and gave themselves a little bingo board choice space to look at. So I'm going to unplug, but here's how I'm going to do it. So that actionable item, and it's going to be, I'm going to hand letter, I'm going to do a little yoga, I'm going to read, I'm going to craft, but then also tying it into their habit and activity tracker. So making sure that their intention is very mindful by doing that check in with their habit and activity. So I really love this and share this from time to time because it's really about tying everything in together on this page. And then again, some more that suggestion of other ways to reframe this space. And then we'll take a look at some to-dos. There's some inspiration if you need some overriding ideas, kind of that intention mindset for your to-dos. The reminder of making a to-do list, you want to make sure things are very concrete and then prioritize your tasks. Make sure that you're taking care of the high priority things. Plan time in your schedule. So maybe then you turn to your weekly page spread there and you make an appointment with yourself to get some of these to-dos done. Of course, grouping your tasks by where they are. Maybe you divide your to-dos up by work, home, self, and you get those to-dos done and be realistic with yourself. Number 5 reminds us list only as many items as can be realistically accomplished. We want to set ourselves up for success, and too often we try to bite off more than we can chew. And so this is a reminder to be gentle to yourself and then cross them off when you get them done. Celebrate that. I love the little to do there, the Monday through Sunday. So there are the big chores of the day broken down. Instead of saying clean house, there's the to do. It's broken down so that the plan can be incorporated on a day by day basis. Here's some more examples of folks' to-do lists. So yeah, let's take a look at working on this. I love this holiday to-do list. That's I know you've probably seen that in the socials, but I really love that. You can throw a couple of stickers here. I love that one. They're just reminding themselves to take a break, have a little warm beverage, and take care of self. We can also take a look at perhaps creating a bingo here. That gamification really helps us get things done. Or perhaps you need a to not do list or a don't list. And then the example over on the upper right, some good questions to ask yourself. You know, what are the 3 most important tasks of each day? How can you schedule time? Where can you schedule time to fill your cup? And then what's the smallest possible step forward you can take so that you see that momentum? And so I love that they use that space as that kind of reminder to ask questions of yourself. So let me put on some music while you work on these 2 spots, and then we'll go down to our habits and activities. right. So you may be still working a little bit on those goals and to-dos for the week, but we're going to you continue to work and we're going to take a quick look now at that bottom section, our habits and activities, or Maya coined a brand new word, habities. That happened a couple of years ago. So we love to work on our habity section. And of course, those habits and activities may be the same ones that are on your habit tracker wheel. That's okay. You can bring that over, that double dose of mindfulness and reminding yourself to get it done. I loved this graphic, the habits of happy people. Perhaps that, some of these things could really help you lean into taking care of yourself this week. And you might even grab some of those and go put those in your mind body health section. We'll be working on that in a minute. And then remember, I was talking about the tree and all the internal work that's happening during this season of renewal. And there's that beautiful, beautiful graphic about it's quiet, but the roots down there riotous. I love thinking about that's what's going on in us, all those beautiful colors and connections and things happening. So love that. So here's a couple of examples that we can look at. We love to look at the habits and activities because it can kind of help present us, bless future us. And this graphic speaks perfectly like present me. It started with lunch, and then future me goes, "Oh, past Fran is the best. She packed me a good lunch." And so here I am intentionally eating healthy today, making that bed in the morning. Future Fran is going to appreciate this so much. And then walking into that bed at the end of the day and going, "Oh, past Fran did it again." So that is such a good reminder of why our habits are so important. We've got some examples here of how folks set this page up. You don't have to do this. Like you can see the one there that says, nope, that person was traveling that week, and so they're not going to worry about it. You can fill in every line if you want, but you don't have to. We've got an example there of someone wanting to do 3 things 7 days a week. You also don't have to set a goal. You can just check off as these things happen. And then there's a fun way of gamifying it and doing something 5 times, 4 times, 3 times, 2 times. You can see the examples over there. And this just say no habit and activity, I kind of had a week of decluttering, and that's an old one of mine, but I think, it's not a bad thing to bring back around for getting rid of things that don't serve me for the week. And then we have some habit tracker ideas. So let me put on just a spot of music. I'll go back through these slides while you do this. What's going in your habit and activity tracker this week? Share in the chat. Yes, Jennifer B. That is such a good point. Actually, last week, or maybe the week before, I had an example of someone's habit tracker, and every one of the habits and activities pointed them back to the gratitude journal, checking in with the habit wheel, looking at their intentions. So every one of their weekly habities directed them back to another portion of their journal to hold themselves accountable for making that work. So I love that you shouted that out to as that reminder. So yeah, now let's go to this next page. If you're still finishing up this first page, go ahead and continue doing that. Got a couple of examples. We really, really appreciate when you are brave and share your pages in Sonder Club because that allows us to go and grab some examples to share with everyone who attends the socials or who watches the rewatch, who rewatches on our YouTube channel because of course these are being recorded, so you can always access them. So thank you to those of you who share, and including Katrina, grabbed that for this week. Appreciate that. And sometimes y'all will go, that's mine, but it's from 3 years ago. Yes, we grab them, we keep them in folders. We're always so glad to see it. So, just the perfect example of how pages look different for folks. That reminder that you do you. And so, the one you see here on the left, I love they put instead of the meal plan, they've put discover yourself. And there's these things to do each day and sort of a response to that. Set a boundary, share authentically, take initiative, and then writing about that. So that deeper dig into self. I mean, I'm not going to read it all. Y'all can read. I know that. But just beautifully written intentions on that page. And then the one on the right, you can see, look at the renewal corner. I love, love, love that. The utilization of stickers, we always say stickers, what is it, Maya? They need to meet their destiny. They want to be stuck. So get those stickers out. Those could inspire some of these spaces. And then the daily sketch, this person's using the meal plan for the daily things, those the big moments in their day that they want to be sure that when they flip that page open, boom, there's my schedule for the biggie of the day. So just a couple of examples. I've got some other examples to show you now of the meal plan, the shopping list, the mind body health space, and everything you see for the examples on this second page can be put into any of these spaces. So maybe someone's using meal plan for their affirmations, but someone else might put their daily affirmations in the mind body health plan. Or they put their main meals of the day down in that shopping list. So it's all, this page is really super flexible. So you're going to see lots of ways folks have set this up. So I'll go through these pretty quickly so that I can give you time to work on getting page two. But here are, I keep this slide in pretty regularly because it just shows ways to use the meal planner as for your nutrition in whatever way that speaks to you. Someone's doing their meals divided up into three things. Um, the one over that's in the middle, it's like their three main meals of the day are written out and planned. If I use this with food, it's usually a leftover tracker. So it's like, what did we have? So that my husband and I don't eat food that's too old. Like, was it Monday when we had this? Or no, that was Wednesday. Are we sure? Because Monday would make it too old. Wednesday makes it okay to reheat. And then some folks really like to embrace their macros every day and track that protein and carbs and fat. And so that's the way someone's going to use this space. But we have lots of repurpose for other things, not nutritionally related. Here's just a few examples of what folks are doing. There's a little mini journal prompt like this week. I learned, I reached out. We've got a daily to-do list goes here, that daily thing. Oh yes, Lisa, I love that. I've been tracking my holiday watches on my the financial page because I don't use that. And so I've been writing mine down. So I've been tracking them just to remind myself of that fun media I'm taking in. Love that shout out. One thing I love about myself, maybe that midday check-in, maybe it just says, what do I feel and what does that tell me I need? I feel and I need. Could go here, your daily affirmations. The Mind Body Health Plan, I always call this my selfish space. This is something about me that I want to do. But I love this little tree during the holiday season. Remember to pause, to care for yourself too. Rest doesn't have to be earned, rest is an activity. We've got several ways that folks set this space up. Again, another little check in. How did I nourish my mind, my body, my soul? Maybe it's a little bingo thing. Maybe it's just a list of things you want to do associated with the days, like the bottom right there. Um, okay, I love the HALT method. This is from the world of recovery. And it's if you're having some feels, this is a great way, especially if you look at your mood tracker, if you're doing your mood tracker every day, and if you feel hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, this HALT method helps us kind of do this self in check. So I like to share this one from time to time. If you just have some feels that aren't great, then ask yourself, am I hungry? Because that can definitely, we get hangry, right? It affects us. And so go eat something nourishing or ask yourself, am I angry? Because that can often, if you're angry, you might be angry at something that it really makes no sense that you're angry at. And so it reminds you to stop and check in with yourself. And are you really angry because of the actions of someone else? But it's manifesting itself in a different way. So that is that check in. So take a breath, name it, and explore it. And then when you can do that, that little pause. Do you feel lonely? Because isolation can be tough for all of us, whether we're in recovery or not. Um, so then that's that prompt. Oh, I need to reach out to somebody. I need to send a text to my best friend. I need to call my sister. I need to touch base with my neighbor. Or are you tired? And that's usually what most of us will notice that we are not getting enough rest. And so I'm going to tell you, I read this and it was so enlightening to me. I have good night problems. I like to stay up really late at night, but really the way you can catch up with your rest is to go to bed early. Like that's the grown-ups version of getting enough sleep is just making yourself go to bed early. So just a really good check-in time for these crazy holidays. So I love that. And then I've got some challenges and some fun graphics for you to look at. We'll just go through those. I'll go through while you're working on it. Love this graphic. It's a made up word, Nestivus, and it's just a day of reprieve from the pressures of all the things. And there's a little graphic with winter self care. So we love that. Ways to boost your mental health and tips for healthy holidays. Notice the very first little circle there is avoid late nights. A lot of us, I know, especially when y'all are in the Pacific Northwest and it's cold and dark and blah, dreary. Here's some good night routines that can maybe help you with that seasonal affective stuff that's going on. And then some ideas from our shopping list. So let me put on some, if you're repurposing your shopping list, you can do all of these. There's that hygge. Let me put on some music. I'll go back through all these slides and then we'll close out our time together. Darla's going to do Nest of Us all week long. I love that. There's some great winter self-care days. And I know that we always run out of time. The fastest hour of our week is when we are together trying to figure out how to be the best version of ourselves. So, as a reminder, this has been recorded. Maya's going to share all the ways you can connect with the Sonder family. We'd love to see your setup in Sonder from one another this morning. And so we always love to be able to grab those to just share with our community. You can also go back and rewatch this YouTube recording. It'll probably be up pretty quickly. Maddie and headquarters has been really, really quickly posting these up. So you'll be able to find that. There's my advent calendar that I've been working on. And when I do the thing, I draw the little picture in. So I'm trying to get engaged very and I know I wish we could like just all gather up. I've got my have our big mugs, we're ready to go, have coffee together, but share in Sonder Club. We'd love to see your setup, and y'all just have a really good weekend and take good care of yourself and make sure you're getting lots of good rest so that you can be renewed on a day-by-day basis. Thank you for joining Maya and me this morning. Have a great one, Sonder family. We'll see you next time.
And you asked me what I want to make this kind and clear. Just a chance that maybe we'll find better days. 'Cause I don't